Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Alex Neris, and today we're going to be talking about how to help you identify untapped market opportunities to help you grow and scale your business in what I call the right way. Because there's often this idea around that if I want to grow and scale my business, the only way to do it is by investing more and more into sales and marketing and advertising. And I'm here to share with you that that's not always the case. And I'm going to show you how to do that with untapped market and segment opportunities. But before I get into that, I want to just quickly take a minute or two just to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Neris, and I kind of started my entrepreneurship journey. I didn't realize it at the time, but back in 2012 when I was working in corporate America at a Fortune 1000 company. And they introduced to me the idea of strategy and how you could use strategy to grow and scale your businesses rapidly. These are not just tactics. When I talk about tactics, I'm talking about the actual things that you have to do, the posting on social media, the running of the Facebook ads, the generating of marketing campaigns, the sales funnel. All those are just the tactics, but the strategy behind it is what makes everything actually work. So they introduced to me one of the greatest strategies I've ever seen on the face of the earth, right? And I actually, for a long time, called it the number one most overlooked growth hack of the 21st century, because this is something that's hidden in plain sight. All the big businesses, all the big companies are using this every single day, but they're not sharing it, or the small business owners are not getting exposed to it. And I'm just so happy that I was able to be exposed to it. And this strategy is mergers and acquisitions, buying other businesses. This is the fastest way to grow any business in my personal opinion. In fact, it was so fast. So since 2015, that particular company that I worked for was generating roughly $3 billion a year. This was a Fortune 1000 company, $3 billion a year. Today, if you look at their current revenue, they're hovering over $4 billion a year. So from 2015 to 2025, that's 10 years. If you actually do the numbers on that, that means on average, they were growing at a rate of $100 million in revenue every single year for the last 10 years in a row. That is something you cannot do by hiring more salespeople. That is not something that you could do by investing in a better ad strategy or an ad campaign. That is something that you could only do through a powerful strategy like mergers and acquisitions, by buying other companies. And currently, right now, they own over 90 other companies, under their corporate umbrella. So this strategy is amazing. And since that day, since 2012, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. And that's the only thing that I've wanted to do ever since. All right. So the whole idea behind these sessions that you're going to be getting here is to help you build a business that is able to buy another business, that is in a place where if you were to buy a business, it does not fail. The acquisition does not fail, because that's something that you will often see. If you ever hear about an acquisition failing after the acquisition takes place, it's because the business that was doing the acquisition was not ready to integrate another business into it yet. So if you're not ready to make an acquisition, if you're already working 80 hours a week and the business is reliant on you, what's going to happen if you bought another company or another business? You can't work 160 hours a week. You can't double your workload and be able to grow anything substantially. In fact, both your businesses will likely fail. So you have to get acquisition ready. And that's the purpose of these sessions here. I'm going to help you build your business and scale your business to a point where you can make an acquisition, because I firmly believe that is the best way to grow any business, hands down. And over the next sessions, if you stay with me, I'm going to share with you exactly how. So right now, we're going to talk about identifying untapped market opportunities. So let's dive in a little bit here. So first of all, what is an untapped market opportunity? Well, an untapped market isn't a new market. I should start there. This isn't a new thing. This isn't a completely new area that you've never been in, right? Because that'll take advertising and marketing. But an untapped opportunity usually lies within one of your existing audiences already. So it's an existing audience, or it's a need that no one is serving well. So it's not always a different industry or a different niche. Sometimes it's just a different angle inside your own current angle that you have right now. So it might be as simple as, instead of serving DIYers, you could service now contractors. Same industry, just a different segment. It's untapped. Something I utilize in my coaching programs and with my clients that I work with, it's called a traffic gap analysis. This is just one way to do this. A traffic gap analysis will help you identify, you lay out all your different products and services that you currently offer, and on the chart, you map out exactly where each product and each service is being marketed or advertised, or you're creating content around. And it'll help you identify that some products you're marketing very well in certain social media platforms, on your blog, or whatever it may be, and others you're just not doing it. So I would imagine that all the products and services that you offer can fit and target roughly the same demographic. But if you do a traffic gap analysis correctly, you'll realize that some of their products are actually not being served to the current audience. That will allow you to just get more sales without having to spend any more on marketing and advertising, because of the very fact that you're now showing your other items, your other products, your other services to that same demographic that's buying your other offerings. All right. So another way to look at this is doing a competitive gap analysis, where you look at your competitors, where they're good, where they're bad at, where you're better than them, where they're better than you. You find out all these shortfalls that you have, all the strengths that you have. It's kind of like a SWOT analysis, where you're looking at you and your competitors, but there might be something that you see. Maybe there's an industry standard. Maybe there's something that it's just common knowledge. It's just how business works, where everything takes 8 weeks. Let's just say all products in this niche are being delivered at 8 weeks. And that's just industry standard. Well, if you could find or identify a way where it doesn't take 8 weeks, you'll be able to serve your customers in a different way than your competitors can. And that'll be a bonus for you. If you could deliver 6 weeks rather than 8 weeks, some people just don't want to wait those 2 extra weeks. And if they're looking at, you and your competitors side to side and everything is apples to apples, the very fact that you take 6 weeks and everybody else takes 8 weeks, you will likely get more sales and more deals from that very alone fact, just because you found a way to serve your customers in a way that nobody else can. Sometimes it could be just as simple as that. So the way that you could identify these things is looking for the complaints or unmet expectations that your customers have. Something you could do is start doing like customer feedback loops, giving surveys, finding out exactly where in your customer journey or your sales process or the delivery process that you have, where your customers aren't as happy as you'd like them to be, and figure out ways to fix the things that they're complaining about. All right. So you could use this simple test and ask what problem exists that no one in your niche or your industry actually owns. So if your customers are having to problem solve themselves, duct tape different things together, or bouncing between services, that's an opportunity for you. Your job is simply to be the first one to take ownership of solving that problem in a clean, direct, and valuable way. All right, that's it for today. The purpose of these sessions are not to be super long, 30-minute sessions, just be short, simple, kind of to the point, trying to get my point across as best as I can. Hopefully these sessions will get better as I keep going on. I'm going to start doing these roughly every day. This was Monday, so this is kind of Momentum Mondays. And Tuesdays we'll be talking about different topics all the way through Saturday, which Saturdays are probably going to be my absolute favorite sessions because it's going to be around the idea of what I would do if I owned a blank. If I owned a retail store, consulting firm, tech company, e-commerce business, real estate firm, construction company, you name it. And if you want to see, what I would do if I owned your particular type of business, all you have to do is simply comment below and I'll read those comments. But Saturdays are going to be probably my favorite sessions, but you are going to get extremely, extremely high amounts of value every single day of the week. So I will be here delivering free content to you as long as my lungs will allow me to. All right. So I'll see you on the next one.